everybody, thanks so much for being here. In this video, I thought it might be really fun to follow up on the Sephora fantasy basket video and actually show what I ended up getting from all that stuff, because it was a little more than what I planned or what I said I was going to get at the end of that video. I noticed several people saying in the comments section that you'd be interested in seeing something like that, so that's what we're going to do today. And also, thank you so much to anybody who has done that tag and you've let me know on Twitter or somewhere else that you have done it. I think that's really cool. It's so fun to see just where people's genuine interest lies if they were going to spend their own money on something, but money was no object. That's kind of the premise here. In case you haven't seen that video, I will link to it down below. The thought is basically, if you had $1,000 just dropped in your lap and you had to spend it at Sephora, what would you get? So I filled my dream basket up to that point, but then kind of whittled it down. At the end of the video, we really looked a bit more critically at things and thought, okay, what would I really realistically go and get out of this stuff? And I gave my reasons for what I thought I really needed, so to speak, or really wanted for my channel right now, what I was just personally really interested in myself, and some reasons why maybe I could wait on other things or skip over other products. So if that tag sounds like fun to you, definitely give it a go on your channel or let your favorite creators know that you would like to see them do it. But yeah, let's dive in. I'm going to show you what I got. I'll show you some swatches of some things, and I'll cut to some demos as well as I put this stuff on. So here's one thing that I kind of came away not so sure about getting at the end of the video, but I went for it anyway. It's the glowy makeup serum from Laneige. I kind of hinted at the thought of doing a video where I put this on half of my face and then not on the other, and really tested the staying power claim for this, because it claims to really extend the wear of your makeup with just 2 to 3 drops applied on your face before makeup, and you let it get fully absorbed, and it kind of acts like a primer, I guess. But I do want to go forward and do that video. The more I thought about it, the more I thought, okay, let's go ahead and get it and give it a try. Plus, I've loved pretty much any Laneige product I've used. For the last few days, I have been using this under makeup. I've used it under lighter products, heavier products. I've also been outside a lot these last few days, so it's kind of hard to tell, I would say, so far. It's going to take some more testing, and I'm really going to want to do that half and half type deal. But the consistency of the product is interesting. If you look really closely at the formula, you can see like itty bitty pink beads almost, little pink flecks, and the texture of it is not like pure watery liquid. There's a little bit of a gel-like thickness, and when you put it on your face, it doesn't necessarily immediately run around everywhere. It spreads really easily, and once I blend it in, it doesn't just disappear into the skin like a lot of serums do. It keeps a little feeling of moisture there, just a little bit of dewy tackiness, and I think perhaps it could be following that trend of some primers that are more like makeup grabbing. I'm thinking of that Milk one. Products you can kind of put all over the skin, and maybe they help the makeup adhere to them and therefore the skin a little bit better. I'd love to know if you've tried this, what your experience has been. It says hydrating and long-lasting makeup wear. I believe they said this was an oil-free product as well. So kind of interesting, those different claims coming together on this product. So I'm going to keep using it, and then I think I ultimately will put it through that half and half test. Another thing I got that I said I definitely was wanting to try was this product from Ilia, and it's called the Super Serum Skin Tint SPF 40. It has niacinamide, squalane, and hyaluronic acid in it as well. It says shake before use. I definitely did that, and I have it in the shade Diaz. And this is definitely a thinner consistency compared to the Laneige. I almost would have expected that to be the other way around, but see just how watery it is as it drops from the dropper. I feel like I'm still sort of getting acquainted with how much of this product I want on my skin, like how many drops. And those of you who tried this definitely laid it out there for me that this would be a sheer product. It does have that SPF, but it's going to be like really lightweight, sheer coverage, and very, very glowy. And I found all of those things to be true. I have a hunch that the more of this you put on the skin, the more glow you're going to see from it, you know? How do you best like to apply this? Because I used a kind of thick buffing type brush and I thought it worked pretty well, or do you think fingers works better? It's so glowy. Looking up close at my skin, seeing areas where I might have visible pores or fine lines, I kind of felt like, I'm seeing this stuff a little bit more, and maybe going forward if I tweak the amount of product I use, that'll change. But I do like it. I like the weight of it. It's kind of lightweight, but yet it definitely is moisturizing. The shade on this seems really, really good for me, and I think going forward, the things I want to play with are just the amount of product I use if I use this on its own. And also I might try adding a little bit to some fuller coverage foundations, because the consistency of this I think would lend itself to that really well. And I can certainly think of a few foundations offhand where this might be very flattering mixed in. Thinking of heavier ones like, you know, my Hourglass one. I wonder how it would be in that. I wonder how it would be in my Huda foundation. Estee Lauder Double Wear, you know what I'm talking about. Those more matte full coverage ones with like a nice solid drop of this in there might be good. But you know, this is what I have all over my skin today, and you can really see the glow even though I have set my skin lightly all over with a matte powder. Like, that glow is definitely still there. I've got a little highlight on, but I really think you can still sort of tell a bit of a glow all over the skin. Here's another thing I definitely said I was going to get, and it's the Urban Decay Naked Ultraviolet palette. There was so much curiosity for me with this one. I really wanted to see what I thought of it. You know, I was getting other people's views of it, some people liking it, some people not liking it so much. I just really wanted to see for myself. And first off, the outer packaging I think is completely stunning. I love how it's super solid, you know, but under the surface, it's almost like how some abstract artists work with different textures and like kind of foiled looking things and glittery finishes and some other stuff. Like, I just thought that was really pretty. And I just love the construction of Urban Decay's palettes. I think they're very, very good with packaging. On the inside, here's the spread of shades. As we expected, we had this chunk of kind of neutral stuff happening here, and then the purple at the end. I feel like Urban Decay really went crazy playing with textures in this one. If we're talking about how many mattes are in there, you've got like this Mind Slip shade, that's sort of a classic peach. We've got the one called Hacked, which is a mauve. And then we've got Optimized here, which is a nice matte lilac. I love a matte lilac. And I feel like all of those shades are like just really solid players in this palette. Everything else has shimmer, and it varies. It varies as to how much I like those different shades. It's definitely a more versatile palette than I was expecting. I mean, you could tell that you had these colors over here and these over here, but I was sort of wondering how much these would show up, how effective they would be mixing in with some of those other colors. So I wanted to show you several looks. This is the palette we're really focusing in on in this video, even though I have a couple others to show you that I ended up getting. I want to talk about the looks that I've done with this so far real quick. First, I played with some of the purple shades like Euphoric and Cyberpunk and Warning. Like, I got all that stuff working in my crease, and I decided to definitely highlight things with this color called Lucid. Lucid right here in the middle is actually like a very light green shimmer, like super light, and I popped that on the center of the lid, and I thought it just made the entire look glow. It's kind of a color that reminds me of glow-in-the-dark green, if you had a lot of glow-in-the-dark stuff as a kid. Like, you pat that on the lid and it looks like, wow, what a beautiful glow. The texture of that shade is lovely, and it just plays on top of those somewhat shimmery purples really nice. Here's another thing to think about with this palette. If you are not comfortable taking shimmers to the crease, you're almost going to have to do that with this palette, I feel, to get the most out of it. You got to feel comfortable starting to take things like Warning or Cyberpunk or Euphoric over here and let those shimmers kind of sheer out and play up your crease a bit. It's not always going to be the deepest look there, but if you want to take the purples in this palette to their limit, you kind of need to work with those shades in that way, I think. And then another look that I did, I thought, okay, let's play up a little bit more of like the gold and the neutral thing happening over here, paired with like purple dust, this deeper kind of more bluish purple. And I did think the look was really pretty. A lot of the glow happening on the lid is from the color called Dazed, which is a beautiful peachy shade with a golden shift, and I think that's very, very pretty. Something that was kind of a little disappointing or unexpected somewhat out of this palette is this color called VR. If you look close at it, you can see a bluish greenish shimmer, but it looks sort of rosy. And that shade is just not gonna be a shade that picks up fully with your brush and lays down like super intensely on your lid. For me, that shade actually ended up being more effective blending out the edge. That's how I used it in that look, was to kind of come up over my crease. It's just kind of odd. I didn't feel like I was seeing the fullest extent of the pretty unusual shimmer that was in that shade, but I was able to at least see a little rosiness, and that kind of helped me as a transition color unexpectedly. But the darkness in that look is coming a lot from this color called Purple Dust. I think it's kind of accurately named because that shade actually, like in a swatch like this, it's like, oh, that's intense, but it does have kind of some dustiness to it. And if you're patting it on, or if I think you're blending it in your crease with a blending brush, I didn't see all that much fallout when I was putting it on, actually hardly any at all, but as I wore it, even hours later, I was shocked at the amount of fallout I was seeing down on my cheek. It was almost like irreparable. I mean, I couldn't just dust it off at that point. It was really sticking in there, and I kind of had to like really rub at it and then apply more concealer. Like, it was bad. And what was so strange was that I wasn't seeing it as I put it on. It was just a color that wasn't really locking in there so well, but I really liked the depth that it provided. In a picture, it looks so pretty, especially pairing back with some of these shades in the peachy family. But like that color, Cyberpunk, you know, it's hard to sometimes feel like you're getting a ton out of those colors. You do have to build them up a lot, but if the consequence is going to be like fallout that you don't even expect hours later, who wants that? Then with today's look, I'll walk you through what I did there. Obviously, the goal for today was to take it in a straight up purple direction. So I decided to just get going in my crease with the color called Hacked. That's that matte mauve. I just thought it might kind of give my crease a head start in being a little darker than the rest of the eye. So I popped that in there, and then I used, I believe it was Euphoric, this kind of bluish purple shimmer. This is a really pretty color, kind of a unique shade. I got some of that going in my crease. I did take Optimized and kind of ran it over the edge of my crease situation there, and then I used a lot of Cyberpunk for my main purple part of the look. And this, again, some of these shimmers, they're just really playing with texture here. Some are smoother, some like Cyberpunk infuse a little more sparkle. They don't really lay down quite as you'd expect, but I got some of that going in the crease and on the inner and outer part of the lid, pretty much all over the lid. And then I brought in a little bit of the color called Digital, which is a really deep brown. It does have a little kind of a satiny finish, I'd say. And when that color overlaps any of your purples, it actually kind of looks like plum. And then I wanted to take the color called Warning, which is sort of your main purple accent here, purple-ish toned accent, I'd say, and I patted that right on the center of the lid. It gives me a little more of that orchid color right in the midst of all the purple. And then on the lower lash line, I used some more of that shade. I can't say I dislike the look, but I do feel like, I don't know, some of these shades, you gotta know some tricks. You kind of gotta be like, okay, I know what Purple Dust can do now. I'm gonna use that shade really sparingly going forward. I do want to do a look that spotlights Optimized a little bit more. I'd like to see that be a bit more the star of the show. But what kind of intrigues me about this palette is that the accent shades, the more like loud, bright pops, are like Dazed, which is not a purple, Lucid, which is not a purple. Warning is kind of an accent, but you know, it didn't pop that hard on my lid today. But purples kind of take this deeper, shimmery route in the palette, but not too deep. The brush in here, sometimes with Urban Decay palettes, I've ended up with a great brush that I thought really did all the jobs well. This one, you're getting a fluffy blending side and a little bit more of a smudgy side. Both are usable, but I think what would have been great to have would have been a flat brush, because so many of these colors, I think, benefit from being laid down with a flat brush. But to me, it's a like, not a love. Like, I can appreciate the palette. I can come together with some looks that sort of surprised me and that I really liked. I loved the pop of Lucid, that first look that I did. I just thought that was so pretty and glowy on the lid. But I gotta tell you guys, there is something out there that is only $5 that I think gives that palette kind of a run for its money. It doesn't have everything that that one has, but the Profusion Violets palette, my friends, like, this is so good. All of the shades are very nicely intense. They're more what you see is what you get type colors. colors, and there's much more matte in here. Like the mattes are Lilac and Innocent and Pressure and Blissful and Aubergine and Fudge, and it does kind of combine some more orchid tone purples with a little bit of a bluish tone purple, plus lighter neutrals, plus a lilac. It's a little bit more of a dusty, smoky lilac, but to me, this really, really effectively satisfies the purple urges, and this one, it just kind of frustrated me in some ways, although I did still come up with some pretty looks that I liked. But I'd love to know what you're thinking of this palette. If you have it, let me know how it's been going for you. The other palettes that I got, I have not used these on the eyes yet, but I will just show you, and I will pop up swatches too. The ABH Norvina, this was the one that was on sale for $20, the Volume 2 Mini Pro Pigment palette. I have not gotten any of the larger Norvina palettes, but this one just really spoke to me. It's even brighter in person, I feel like, but I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this. I think for these 9 shades, there is no overlap. You know, none of these shades are like, even if you think these greens are similar, one is very shimmery, one is matte. These are actually all matte right around here. And I just think there's gonna be so many fun possibilities here. I can't wait to try it. And the swatches just looked absolutely incredible. I also did go, as I said, I probably would, for the Gen Nude from Bare Minerals Rose eyeshadow palette. I just love these little 6-color palettes. This one, I mean, rose, we're talking just a touch of rose. It's not going to be like pinky rosy, like super intense. We're saying there's one splash of like a rose gold color, and then it's real heavy, more so on the supporting kind of shades. You've got a couple of light colors up here. It's a very neutral palette. I think I'm going to like it, but I just wanted to let you know I picked that up, and you'll probably see me in that. Let me know if you want to see a look with it. And then I went for 2 lip products that I wasn't really expecting to. One of them is the Sugar Bloom. This is from the brand Fresh. They have all these different tinted products. There were 3 different tinted ones that I had my eye on. This one I thought would be kind of like Your Lips but better. It claimed to have a shimmer finish. I'd never tried one of these that I knew of that had an actual sheen to it. The shimmer on this is very, very subtle. I've been wearing it all throughout the video. There's something so lovable about the thickness level of these balms. You put them on and my goodness, they feel so luxurious and not all that shiny. So if you're not all about that glass shine or those like lipsticks that actually look like lip glosses, that type of deal, you might really enjoy this, because look how the shine is kind of understated here. I love the tone though. It's a little bit cooler pink compared to the next thing I'm going to show you, so kind of watch for that. But I love this. I'm really glad I got it. I think I'm going to get a lot of wear out of it. A lot of these Fresh products that I get, I tend to come up with them in a mini size. I just think that's a good value. I keep my eye out for that around the holidays, but it feels nice to have a full size. It feels very luxurious. I like the twist off cap. I like the sort of metal tube. It's really nice. The other thing that I went for, in the spirit of perhaps doing a shiny lipsticks video in the future, I went for the Fenty Beauty, what did they call this? The Slick Slip Shine Shiny Lipstick, Sheer Shiny Lipstick. I did get the shade I mentioned, Retro Rose, and this is definitely a shiny lipstick. It's reminding me a lot of products from Revlon and L'Oreal with, you know, they hit your lips, they give off immediate shine. The color is pretty. It's kind of like a deepened nude with some rose mixed in. I do think I'll get use out of it, and I do like it, but if I had to say like which of the 2 lip products that I got in this haul do I prefer most, there is something about, if you've never tried one of these Fresh lip balms, this thick, protective feeling balminess that it has is so, so nice. I'm not saying this claimed to have any balm-like protection, but I just kind of prefer this feeling a little bit. It's really, really nice. So guys, that does wrap up my haul of what I actually got from the $1,000 Sephora Dream Cart video. I hope this was interesting for you, and I just wanted to follow up. I just wanted to give full disclosure on what I actually came up with there. Let me know which of these things you are most interested in seeing more looks with, or for more reviews on. I kind of feel like I gave my full review on the Ultraviolet. I mean, this is my third time using it. I feel like I know quite a bit about it. That's not to say you won't see it turning up in future videos, but I may not do a real dedicated review on that one now that I've shared this much about it already, you know what I'm saying? But thank you guys for your time. Thanks for doing that tag, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye.